Hello BookTube. For this Tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing the book acquiring tag. This tag was created by Kristen from Enter the Book, and I saw it originally on Brian of Bookish's channel, and I will have links to both videos in the show notes down below. Prompt number 1. Do you plan your book purchases ahead or impulse buy? Mix of both. I often have themes and subjects I'm interested in picking up, or stores I want to shop with. But usually a lot of what I buy ends up being impulse, based on those themes or subjects or genres that I'm interested in picking up at any given moment. Question number 2. How do you decide what books to buy? Impulse, what I'm interested in at any given moment, if there are any series or something like that that I'm collecting. For example, to preview my March book haul, I had a big desire to collect some more poetry. I have a poetry reading project I want to do the first week of April. So I picked up a ton of poetry this month, which I did through 9 of the poetry collections I picked up through a university press sale. And then the other 3 I picked up from a used bookstore through a Libris. And I'll talk a bit more about that on Thursday when I do my March book haul. Question number 3. What is your philosophy on where you shop? Online versus in person? Large versus small? Physical, digital, or audio? New versus used, etc. So, I don't know necessarily if I have a set philosophy. But I do have some preferred, I guess, stores I use. To answer the binary questions, I typically buy online more often than I do in person, largely because of the pandemic. I use Amazon primarily for pre-orders and history because of the discount and also the speed in which they get here. Although Amazon has had a number of issues the last few months that make me use them as a bit less than I used to. I also shop with Book People and Pals. They're both storied independent booksellers. Book People in Austin, Pals in Portland. I also use Libris, which is a used bookstore aggregate site that has a number of used booksellers selling through them that I use quite frequently. I also use Book Depository, a number of university presses, the University of Chicago, Princeton University, LSU I've shopped with before and will probably do again when they have their next sale. And then there's also Labyrinth and a few others. I used to shop a bit more in person. There are some fairly good used bookstores near where I live, Golden's and Brazos Books, but with the pandemic, really haven't had the opportunity to go, or the safety concerns, and also getting transportation. And also there are like library book sales, which I love to go to, but I haven't gone in a while because of, again, getting people to take me. Large versus small. I mean, I shop with both. I do Amazon, and I do Book People and Pals, although I guess large or small is relatively relative. I mean, Pals is, large. The store itself is immense, and it has a number of branches in Portland. And then Book People, again, is an immense, major institution in Austin. So, and I also use smaller stores if it's convenient. So, and I prefer physical copies above all else. I haven't found the appeal of ebooks, and I don't care for audiobooks at all, so it's physical. And new versus used, both. I will buy new books and I will buy used books, as the ease of getting them, and sometimes the price, but usually the ease of getting them comes into play. So I guess my philosophy of book buying is a bit chaotic. Question number 4. What about little free libraries? What do you think about them? Have you used one? Why or why not? So I love the idea of little free libraries. Have I used one? No. I think there are supposedly a number of them locally, but I'm thinking most of them are in subdivisions, quite a distance from where I live. And I think the one that's supposedly the nearest to me is on the grounds of, I think, the Lutheran Church, and I've walked by it several times, and I've never seen the little free library, so I don't know if there's actually one there or not. But I've never seen one, so. And I've never used one. Although I've often thought about donating some of the books I have to the little free library, because, yeah, probably would find it difficult to unhaul them other ways. Question number 5. How do you feel after acquiring a book? And then do you share like in a book, haul, or diary? So I'm usually quite elated. Sometimes my elations is mostly like after I've bought the book, and then usually when I've gotten it. Although that euphoria, that joy of having collected the book probably dissipates by the time I get around to doing my book haul. I do, so at the end of every month, usually the last day or nearer if it's like the last day's a weekend, I will film a book haul. My March book haul I will be doing on Thursday. Until then, all of my new books are put in this little area between this bookcase and this bookcase. And I'll just put them there until the end of the month when I film my book haul, and then I'll put them where they need to go. I started doing this largely because of my science fiction and fantasy collection, which makes up the bulk of my collection. I have them alphabetized, so getting an individual one science fiction or fantasy novel and putting them on the shelves as I get them in, it would mean the entire science fiction and fantasy collection, after that book gets inserted, has to move. And that's a bit complicated, so I kind of like to do it in bulk. And I've just started doing that with all of my books, even the ones that are a bit more chaotically organized than science fiction and fantasy. Once I've filmed my haul video, what I will do is I will then, as I'm uploading the haul to YouTube, I will be sort of in the show notes listing the books, as well as pulling up a document I have that is effectively my personal library catalog, and then I'll put the books in that too. And then once everything's done up, and depending on how long it takes to upload the video, I will go ahead and put the books on the shelves as needed. And then it's on to the next month's books. Question number 6. How do you feel looking at your books that haven't been read? I need to read them mostly. Um, of course, I mean, I don't segregate the unread from the read. They're all organized together, so. Um, does it matter if it's currently a lot or little amount? No. Um, it's what I need to read, and I'll get to them eventually. Question number 7. How do you decide what number of unread books is the right amount? I don't. I mean, it's the amount that's there to be eventually read. Question number 8. Do you have a TBR game or process for reading them? Not really. I try to have a process. I try to have a set TBR. The problem is that much like when I participate in booktube reading events, the surest way for me to bail on a book is for me to say I'm going to read this book, or have it as a TBR for a reading event or a reading project or something like that. It always happens to me, and it infuriates me. So I try to be as spur of the moment as I can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But TBR games, and that surest way for me to bail on a book. Question number 9. Do you have a book buying problem? I would say no. My mother would say yes. Of course, given the fact that my March book haul is going to be about 40 books, yeah, I might have a slight problem with buying books. Although, I don't care. I love buying books. It's one of the few things that I enjoy, so. If so, what is the nature of it? Probably the amount of books. I mean, I try to keep within my budget, but sometimes the last little while it's been a bit difficult for me to keep it within my budget. And can it be adjusted? Why would I want to adjust it? I very much take after Elton John on this. That if I can do it, I'm going to do it. No problem. But anyway, question number 10. Tag 2 or 3 others to ponder their book buying process. Normally, I tag everybody in these videos. Although, that said, I'm thinking this is going to be a tag right up Steve Donahue's alley. And to preempt him from complaining that nobody tags him because he smells. I'm going to tag Steve Donahue, and I guess I'll tag Michael K. Vaughn. So Steve and Michael, you're tagged. And the final prompt, and since this is more of a prompt than a question, know you are awesome just as you are. Being a book lover is amazing. Thank you. So that was the book acquiring tag. So again, I've already tagged Steve and Michael specifically, but if you would like to do this tag, you're tagged too. So anyway, BookTube, I will be back tomorrow with my 1000 books Q&A. There's still time for you to ask a question if you would like to. So far, there's still only 4 questions, although, of course, 2 of them have a barrage. So I'll get to them tomorrow. So basically, if you want to ask me a question, it's basically about 12 o'clock Eastern, well, more like 12:30 Central Time. And then on Thursday is going to be my Book Hall of Madness. And then Friday, I might try to do a tag video on Friday, because there's another really interesting one today that I need to give some thought to. And then, of course, weekly read. So until tomorrow book tip. Thank you. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.